Hello and welcome to this preview video for the National Eagle Center. We are previewing the upcoming PBS Iconic America series episode that will be featuring the bald eagle. And so today we're pleased to be joined by Preston Cook, collector of the American Eagle Collection here at the National Eagle Center. We have Jack Davis, author of The Bald Eagle, The Improbable Journey of America's Bird, and Shelley Buck, Tribal Council member for the Prairie Island Indian Community. Thanks for being here today, all of you. So to kind of kick things off here, this is an ongoing PBS series that has really explored different aspects of America. And of course, this one is going to be focused on the bald eagle. And so I'll start off with you, Jack. Why does the bald eagle belong in this PBS series, Iconic America?
Well, the bald eagle has long been an icon of the United States, very closely associated with the identity of our country, but also with the identity of many native cultures dating back hundreds, thousands of years ago. And it's a highly recognizable bird, and it's a bird with I think exhibits charisma and it's one that people love. They love to see in the wild, and so to me, including the bald eagle as an icon is really in the series is really a no-brainer.
Bald eagle belongs in the PBS series because, like Jack said, the bird is a majestic creature that's just super special, and for my people, it's a relative of ours. And for us, it's one of the highest flying, or it is the highest flying bird, and it's the messenger to the creator. So the bird has a very special meaning to my people, and I think it's time that people really understood the full meaning of the bird. A lot of people just see it as kind of the national type of symbol for the country, but the bird goes much deeper than that. The significance of the bird goes much, much deeper for my people. And I think it's a good way for people to learn something that they may not have known before. And I think that's why it's special that it's on the PBS series.
Well, it belongs for a few reasons. And I think the major reason they selected a living national symbol. And of this series, this is the only living national symbol that they chose. So I'm very happy that they did choose the bald eagle. It certainly has relevance in the wild as an ornithological creature. And for me, a symbolic creature, which is very strong and been a part of my life for the past 50 years for my collection. So I'm really pleased that we're going to see the three different sides of the bald eagle in this series.
Excellent, great. Well, two of you here have written books having to do with bald eagles. Preston, you wrote your book as kind of a companion to the collection, the American Eagle Collection, which you just referenced, and it highlights, just over 1,000 items from that collection. So we'll get back to you in a second. But Jack, you wrote a very unique and interesting book about the bald eagle and kind of its history, maybe a history a lot of people didn't know. What drew you to that project? Why did you feel the need to write that book?
Well, a couple of reasons. One is that I'm an environmental writer, and my species, if you will, sometimes end up going down this rabbit hole of doom and gloom when writing about the environment. And I didn't want to take that direction with my next book, which became The Bald Eagle. And there's a wonderful conservation success story attached to the bald eagle's relationship with the United States. There's plenty of grim and tragic in our historical relationship with the bald eagle, but there's also a redemption and restoration. So I wanted to tell that story. But also, I'm a baby boomer. And Preston's a baby boomer. We didn't grow up seeing bald eagles. DDT had decimated their population as it had population of many birds, and also fish life, I should say, which the bald eagle depends on for food. But now we're seeing them in quite frequently. Every year we see more and more bald eagles, and they're increasingly a common sighting. And people, you see a bald eagle, I refer to it as a, poke the guy in the ribs next to you moment of excitement. And so I thought that, well, readers might like to know a little bit about this bird and its history, both the species and the symbol that they're seeing so frequently today.
Preston, was your intent to always write a book, or did you kind of assemble the collection and then felt the need that, hey, you have an opportunity here to create a companion piece for it?
Well, I had no intentions of writing a book about the bald eagle. I was a collector and a list maker, and that's what I enjoy doing. But I found as the collection grew that I couldn't explain what I do. People would say, what do you mean you collect eagles? You collect eagle parts, you collect live eagles, you collect dead eagles. What do you collect? They didn't understand it. So I thought the best way to explain what I do, which has been ongoing and continues to this day, of collecting eagle items, is to write a book. And it is a coffee table style book. It has about 1,400 images from the collection in it. So it's a really a small part of the entire collection, but it highlights 8 different areas on how the bald eagle has impacted us by the symbolism of the bird, by showing what the bird is. So it could be in commerce, it could be in military, it could be how the government uses the bald eagle, how the bald eagle is used in entertainment, and all these different areas. So now I just could hand someone a copy of the book and say, this is what I do. And people say, oh, now I understand what you do. And what most people are really surprised at, almost shocked at, is how pervasive the bird as a symbol is in our society. I mean, every American has a bald eagle in their pocket on the $1 bill that was issued in 1935, which continues to this day. They find it that they now look around and they see bald eagles everywhere. I get calls and I get emails and I get photographs all the time. Well, have you seen this one? Have you seen that one? So it explains what I do and what I have done as a lifetime hobby. I must admit, I got a little carried away on this project by now having about 40,000 items in the collection. So it's important now that I turn it over to the National Legal Center so other people could enjoy the collection as I have over the years.
Shelley, I want to turn to you again. I know I've heard you talk about this before, and Jack just mentioned kind of the poke in the ribs moment. Native Americans certainly, your people have a very special relationship that is very much like that. What can you share about that connection that you have with the bird?
For me as a Dakota Wea or Dakota woman, I see the bird as a relative. We have a different worldview than most people. We see the trees, the water, the land, plants, the animals as our relatives. And when you view things in that manner, you tend to treat them differently than if you see it just as some kind of commodity or something else. And for us, with the bird being the highest flying bird and the messenger to the creator and from the creator and also from the ancestors in the spirit world, anytime we see a bird in the air and we're driving, it's like, I'm not sure how I haven't crashed yet because I'm always going like this, like, what is it, an eagle? Is it an eagle? And if it is, then I throw out some sage or tobacco and I say a prayer or give thanks. And I see memes sometimes that have that, a picture of a Native person driving doing this, just because it's so common that everybody that's Native has it's tobacco, pouch of tobacco or pouch of sage or chinchasha in their car and are looking at the birds to see what kind of bird it is. And it's just, I find it funny when I stop and realize that I'm doing it because the bird does mean so much. And sometimes, I could ask for so many things, not just for myself, but for my people. But a lot of times I just want to give thanks that I was able to see yet another bald eagle flying around. And it's really special when I see them down on the reservation. And especially if I'm at our buffalo pasture and I see them flying above the buffalo, it's so majestic and so inspiring and peaceful all at the same time.
Preston, what do you hope people who do watch this episode will take away from it? What do you hope that they learn?
Well, what's really interesting for me about this bird is that I've been involved with collecting items about the bald eagle for over 50 years. And like I read Jack's book on the bald eagle, and I learn a lot. I said, well, I thought I really knew a lot, but it turns out there was a lot still left to learn. And then when I hear Shelley talk about her perspective on the bald eagle, which is very different than mine, it's new material for me. It's new information for me. So what this series will do is they'll take a little bit from each one of us and spread that information out to the American public. And they're all going to learn a lot more about the bald eagle than they've ever learned before.
Well, Jack, you've obviously done a lot of research on the topic of bald eagles. I mean, is there one or two lessons that you really hope that viewers of the episode take away?
This is a bird that we very much appreciate, and at one time we appreciated the symbol much more than we did the species, because we pushed it to the brink of extinction twice, but we also brought it back, and that's the story that I like, and I'd like viewers to take away. When you think about, we nearly lost a bald eagle in the lower 48 states in the 1960s, and now the population across North America is somewhere around 500,000. The bald eagle only lives in North America, by the way. It's truly an all-American bird, so it was the ideal bird for Americans to choose for the front of their Great Seal of the United States. But today that population is around 500,000, which is the estimated population that existed at the time Europeans arrived. So it's this great conservation success story. We deserve a pat on the back for that. And I think that we can take that kind of success and transfer it to other relationships we have with the natural world. But at the same time, I want viewers to also recognize the perseverance of the bald eagle. We have to attribute their comeback to these birds themselves as much as ourselves.
Well, very good. Well, I guess I will kind of wrap things up here with one final question for all of you. We'll start with you, Shelley. You know, given the recognition that the series is giving to the bald eagle amongst all these other iconic American things, what do you want people to do? What do you think they should do or can do to ensure the integrity as the national icon and the sovereign kinship to Native American cultures?
I think it's important to take away that the bird is got meaning for different groups of people, and we need to stop and realize how our actions as human beings affect the birds themselves, not just the bald eagles, but other creatures around us, how our actions affect them, and take into considerations ways that we can change what we do. You can help by supporting groups like National Eagle Center and really learn more about the birds and other ways that you can help. You can it's pretty inspiring for me as a Native person to know that my people were once brought to extinction, and there were some tribes who were brought to extinction, just like the buffalo who sustained us were brought to near extinction, and like Jack said earlier, the bald eagle was as well. So we kind of have a kinship in that manner, and I think it's important for people to learn stories and history that they didn't know about. And when one person can learn something, then two people learn, because they can go and teach another person. So I think it's really important, even if this series only touches one person, that's one more person than we had before.
That is a fantastic answer. Thank you. Preston, what do you think? What should people do to continue to honor and protect the bald eagle as a takeaway?
Well, I think most important is for people to understand the importance of the bird in the environment. It's important for people to understand what the bird has done historically and culturally as a symbol in America. And the more we get the word out, I think the more people will understand the importance of both of these elements of the bird. You know, and a lot like Canada, for example, it's an interesting case that they have bald eagles there. But when a person looks at a bald eagle in Canada, what do they see? They see a bald eagle. When we see it as Americans, when we see a bald eagle, we quite often transfer it not just to a bald eagle, but to the symbol of America, the patriotism of what the bird means, and the symbolism of our great seal, and how it's used so often in all these different aspects that I've collected in.
Jack, what do you think the takeaway is here for people who tune into this episode?
Well, I second what Shelley was saying about supporting raptor centers, and virtually every state has a raptor rehab center, and they're extremely important. Not just for bald eagles, but for owls and merlins and hawks and others. And when supporting those are also education centers, and we're learning more and more about bald eagles every day. I mean, there were decades in which scientists didn't have bald eagles around to study, and so maintain awareness of the bald eagle's life history, and but also of your own actions, and keep in mind that when the bald eagle's thriving, that means that the environment's healthy, and that environment is one that we share with the bald eagle. It's our environment, it's its environment. It's all wildlife environments. As Luther Standing Bear, a great Lakota wise person, once said, we breathe the same air and drink the same water as do the non-human species. And for instance, be aware again of your own actions. The greatest threat to bald eagles right now is poisons, and it's poisons that get into the environment in innocent ways, whether it's rat poison we use in the house. It makes its way outside. Those animals, or those dying rats, are picked up by owls and eagles, and it makes its way up the food chain. Lead shot in hunting. Hunters are among our best environmentalists, our conservationists, and most loyal, but many of them got their kill in the woods and leave behind gut piles that are infected by lead. That a shard the size of a grain of rice can kill a bald eagle. So awareness.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. And again, we encourage everyone to tune in. This episode of PBS's Iconic America will debut on July 19th. It will be available for streaming after that. And again, today we've been joined by Jack Davis, author, collector Preston Cook, and Shelley Buck, a tribal council member of the Prairie Island Indian community. Thank you all for joining us today. It has been a pleasure to get your thoughts on the bald eagle. Thank you.